Live from the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom.
And Mel.
We're not a podcast that tries to pretend like we know everything, but we have just as many bad takes as the analysts. We're a podcast for fans by fans.
Yeah, I'm Buck, and I'm a huge believer in this new offense that we're showing.
I'm Mel.
Defense. Did I say offense?
Yeah, you did say
I meant,
offense. Nope. My take is I'm a huge believer in this defense we've been showing, but you take the offense, Buck. That's good. Good call.
And I'm Bob. I'm just here.
With
All
bad
right.
takes.
Guys, so, yeah, what a game. Initial thoughts before we kind of go through it?
I mean, there's a lot of good to talk about, and there's a lot of negative to talk about. Yeah.
There's no negative because this was the first game that I did not almost have a heart attack multiple times during. I still wasn't confident even when we were up 21-0, but it wasn't stressful.
There's definitely
It
negative.
definitely wasn't stressful.
There's definitely negative.
I
Who
know
was
there's
the quarterback
negatives, but
for the Chiefs at the end of the game?
yeah.
I mean, I know it's not much. If we didn't have that lead and we didn't make that stop, then we wouldn't have seen Carson Wentz. We still would have seen Mahomes out there.
100%.
So
And we were listening to the press conference after the game, and Andy's like, yeah, Mahomes wanted to argue with me about going back in. There was just no need for that. And Mahomes said, he goes, I would have fought a little bit harder. If they had scored, I would have fought even harder to get back in. But
you could see it in his face on the sideline when the camera panned over to him, and he's like, oh, man, it's going to be hard for me to argue this one. But come on, coach.
yeah, it was the right decision to take him out, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
And Carson didn't screw it up, so.
no. It's good to get Carson some reps. Like I was telling Buck during the game, it's definitely every year our backup quarterback has to come in and do something during the playoffs.
Yeah.
Never fails.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Holmes has some weird ankles.
Well, the last time the backup quarterback came in the playoffs, he had
He
was
threw a
it the
touchdown, didn't he?
well, it was the longest drive in the history of the playoffs. It was like 98 yards.
Yep. Well, and I mean, it was a definite interesting game. We definitely caught up a little bit on our turnover differential and things of that nature, but there was also just some weirdness going on because as far as I know, the Browns don't have a great rushing defense, but we did try and get Hunt and Pacheco going. Both Hunt and Pacheco got 13 rush attempts. Hunt for 3.5 yards a carry, and Pacheco for 2.5. It's not the numbers that I was wanting to see. Worthy did have 3 attempts for 10-yard average, but I was wanting them to get the rush going, but I mean, they just kind of weren't getting the rush going. I think this might be indicative. I'm trying to remember because there were a lot of good 8-yard carries.
Here's what's happening, okay? This is what happens when you have a split back system. If you count up the rushes, not by quarterbacks, we rush the ball 30 times, not including quarterbacks, and that is exactly what we wanted. But the problem is you gave 13 to Hunt and 13 to Pacheco, and now we don't feel either one of them really lived up to their potential, and neither one of them were really given the opportunity to really get going. They were just kind of switching in and out. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying you're not going to see a 75-yard running game by either one of these backs anymore if they're splitting the carries.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it should be 20 and 10 or something. I don't know either way. I think,
Who do you give it to, though?
yeah, and I think it's situational, but they both look really good, and I think we go away from the rush as soon as it starts to kind of sputter.
That's Andy Reid's MO his entire career.
For sure. But it did kind of start to sputter. We missed a couple third down and shorts and stuff like that. And so we went away from the rush almost completely, I feel like, towards the end of the game. But I do think that at least they had more rushes this game.
Hunt is still looking better than Pacheco.
I was just going to say, man, this might be unpopular, but I would
It's
rather
definitely
see
unpopular, but it's the truth.
Hunt getting the lion's share right now. I
Well-
mean, Pacheco has skills, but the more we watch him, he doesn't break tackles.
And it could be just him coming back from injury. I mean, he's never broken tackles,
Right.
but he's always had that fire and that
To get that extra,
and so
he still does. But I see Hunt out there, and he'll break a tackle or two, and then do the extra, dragging
He's
the
fighting for
defender.
the yards, too.
And so I just see more out of Hunt. I just bring in Pacheco enough so that it doesn't. We saw Hunt getting really, really tired. With Pacheco out as long as he was.
know
So
that Hunt. We also have to think too, though. Pacheco's our future. Hunt's not like our long-term future. He's just older, right? He's not going to be in the league that
Definitely.
much longer, especially if we give him 35 carries a game, right? But I do think, we've talked before, Pacheco's definitely has more explosive ability. Like, Pacheco may pop one off here
30
and
or
there.
40, yeah.
I don't know that's. This is me with my unpopular opinions, but I'm going to say it. I mean, I'm not here to make friends. Like, I'm here to talk about the Chiefs, and the truth
I didn't want to be a friend
in
anyways.
the pudding is Pacheco's never been a top tier S running back. I would say he's never even been an A running back. He's been a B running back, which has been what we've needed him to be. And yeah, he's got more heart than anybody I know.
His heart made him an A running back, and everybody's
And his
not.
attitude
Yeah.
and the way that he presents himself, absolutely.
But
He's
I don't
definitely a
think that
fan
actually
favorite.
makes him an A.
No,
No, but in everybody's eyes, right?
Right.
And I think you have to remember, like, we were coming from Edwards-Helaire. We were coming, like, it's not like we were coming from some rock star
Yeah.
running backs here, right?
Yep.
And Pacheco came in, and just the way he fought felt like I want him on our team.
Yep. And it lit a fire under Edwards Helaire's ass, and all of a sudden Edwards Helaire could actually not just fall down at the line of scrimmage or a yard behind, So, but at the same time, everybody was talking about it. I love the KC Chiefs report by Chat Sports, and I love their new guy they have on there. He's got a weird voice, but it grows on you quickly. I'm just letting you know. But he's been talking about Pacheco being one of the best running backs in the league. I'm like, bro, what does that take? Are you just trying to get likes and subscribes? I mean, because he has a lot of good info, but that one I'm just like, okay. I don't see that, but he is a good running back. It's just I think Hunt is better, and yeah, it's weird. I'd rather Hunt have more carries now than Pacheco, and Pacheco come in and really be able to take advantage of a tired defense.
See, and I just don't know if Pacheco's that type of back. I don't know if Pacheco can be a change of pace back. I almost feel like Pacheco needs the reps to get the big play.
I mean, Hunt
And-
does too, though.
Right. Agreed.
Hunt doesn't have a whole lot of big plays in him, though. I think we're talking big play for Hunt is 15, maybe 20, and a big play for Pacheco is 30 or 40.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. All right, but besides running backs, it was nice to see them get back to trying to do the rush. There was, a few different things. I wish we would have. I felt like we didn't capitalize on play action when the rush was working good. We would just keep rushing until it didn't work, and then try play action, and then it's like, okay, but that's not the way it. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Somebody tell me in the comments, please leave comments. We would love that.
I wonder if they didn't do a ton of play action because of the extra support that they had to give the line, right? So play action kind of takes that running back out of a, like, able to block easily on the left side type of role. And so I wonder if that plays into it at all. Obviously, I don't know enough about football and how that works.
No, you're right. I mean, if they do play action, then that running back has to run in there and pretend he's grabbing the ball. And by then it's too late. With Myles Garrett over there, it was just too much. And we did see a lot of that today. Not a lot of success, but a lot of running back going out to the flat. But before he does, he's going to try and chip Myles Garrett, and they just whiffed more times than they hit. I mean, that dude is just...
But you know what?
Man,
Maybe
he was
they,
disruptive.
Maybe they pushed him off course just enough.
Yeah,
right?
that's all they wanted, really. It was just a little throw him off balance.
When we talk about quarterback play, Mahomes didn't have a day that would light up anything, but he did have 2 TDs, no interceptions, and I'm good with that. The receivers, worthy, I feel like, so we should have controlled this game. This game should have been 59-7. Okay,
would have been nice.
But it should have been. But we, how many times did we punt the ball? We
9
punted
times
the ball
for 399 yards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we punted the ball nine times. Our defense had 7 takeaways, 4 picks, 3 fumbles. We destroyed we destroyed them, okay?
Did you see though the punting stats? So and this might just be a sidebar on what you're talking about, but Matt Araiza, in my mind, is supposed to be one of the better punters in the league. But he had 9 punts, only 2 landed inside the 20, and he had a touchback.
Yeah, he had.
That's a struggle game.
A weird game for him, but I think that could just be off. It was in the rain. We should talk about that. The rain did start mid second quarter, maybe start of second quarter.
It wasn't a hard rain, but I guess any bit of water is
any
disruptive.
bit of water for a kicking, it could be really detrimental. Speaking of kicking, Butker had 1 shot at a field goal, and boy, wow, that was scary to see.
I thought that him going down on the knee like that was supposed to be his way of coping with his injury, and now
but he's been doing that, going down on the knee for a year.
So even before he had the injury?
Yeah, since his last, and that was basically making it so he wouldn't have to go have surgery, but finally he just kind of had to. But he's still used to that kicking style, so
he's going to keep it.
So I think he's just going to keep it.
Do you think he looked like he was in pain when he kicked that?
No,
but there was a lot of weird shit going on. He was doing hand signals like the dude from Team America World Police, where he's like I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, but he's like,
is he giving the signal?
Just doing all kinds of signals. He's like, is he giving the signal? Is he giving the signal?
Chaos there. I think the long snapper wasn't out there. There was it was not a good look on all parts of the special teams there. But I think honestly,
Dave Tobe was pissed.
Yeah, I think he just slipped a little bit, and I'm not super concerned about Butker going forward. I think this was his first game back. They didn't even have him doing kickoffs because he's not.
It just scared
100%.
me.
Yeah, I'm more worried about
kickoffs
re-injury
again
than anything else.
Yeah, so he wasn't doing kickoffs. He made his extra points.
I'm hoping Spencer Schrader is close, just in case.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. He's probably staying at the Adams Mark directly across from the stadium.
Well, no, I just mean close to coming back from injury because we had to put him on IR. So he could come back, I believe, next week. He could come. I think that would be his 4 weeks since he went out next week. But I don't think he could play next week. I'm just saying I'm looking towards the postseason.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if Butker can't get it back, but again,
he did make all his extra points.
He made his extra points. That was a weird play where a lot of things were messed up, and after being kind of on injured reserve for a little while, not in the game for a while, for that many things to go wrong on your first field goal back, I feel like there's a lot more to that story, and I think he'll be fine. I think he's obviously shown enough that we released the other kicker that he could perform well enough for us, and I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
And we have Reed as a backup, which is not rate's not amazing. At
No, but what a
kicker,
luxury.
But yeah, like what a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
That we don't have to have some extra kicker on the team or on the roster.
And he
every
loves doing
game.
it too. It's not like
Yeah.
he's like, damn it, I got to go back out
Right.
there.
It's,
He
like,
loves
so
doing it.
fun for him,
Yeah.
Sounds like fun to me too. I'd love to go out there and kick.
right?
What's 6 divided by 6 or no? What's 20 divided by 6?
Like 3.3.
Okay, so their running backs we did hold pretty good, but Chubb had a 4.6 average with only a long of 8. So I mean, Chubb was getting some good yards, but he only had 9 attempts. I'm
he got
glad the Browns. Yeah, he did get hurt, but
And then Ford came in.
they weren't really using him a ton though prior to him getting hurt either. Like he didn't have as many as he could have as the premier back, but Ford came in. Ford only had 22 yards on 6 attempts, but
which is still almost 4
his
yards.
7th attempt was 62 yards, giving him a 12-yard average. This definitely hurt our defense's overall stats, but I don't think that matters.
Yeah.
If we do look at our wide receivers,
Well, hold on. Let me talk about Ford for a second.
Okay.
Because that guy turned some gear on. Because he got past one defender and then he was out of there. Right? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, he had a
This is their
26-yard
backup.
reception too.
Yeah.
On a screenplay. Yep.
Yeah, he was good. I was not expecting that. But leave it to, the backup quarterbacks, backup running backs. They always...
Yeah, look at
well, I mean, the Browns haven't been horrible leading into this. What we talked about in our no, their record shows horrible, but since Jameis Winston came in, they haven't been horrible. They've
think he
they've
threw
been
3 picks
holding
in
themselves in games. He has thrown a shit ton of picks.
But he's
That
thrown a lot of
is-
touchdowns too.
That is definitely a thing. It's like half and half for him. He's like basically a gunslinger, and so sometimes it can work out, sometimes it can't.
Yeah. You did say that Mahomes didn't have any picks, but there was a couple close calls.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
there
really
were.
could have gone the other way.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think
And you
he was-
said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think he was taking more chances because we were up so much, which I kind of liked.
Oh yeah,
I
loved
liked
it.
that he was
Aggressive.
taking the chances, being aggressive. I'm glad it didn't bite him in the butt because I think it would have,
Changed.
leveled that a little bit. But I like to see that. Like when we have the lead and we're 3 scores up, like take a chance. We saw some really amazing Mahomes plays where he scrambled, threw the ball across the field. The line looked a lot better, but he was still running for his life a lot of times. But he was running
yeah.
for his life at a point that he could still throw it.
But he's also all he's got to do is learn how this line is going to communicate with each other, and that won't take but another game or two for him to kind of
If
feel
we
out.
keep Tooney at left tackle,
Right.
because for anybody who doesn't know, Tooney moved over to left tackle, and
Mike Caliendo.
Mike Caliendo moved into left guard for Tooney. Tooney is an all-pro left guard, maybe one of the best, maybe the best, but he's a left tackle right now today.
And for that to be his first game and come out and play like that, I'm unbelievably impressed.
Against a premier,
Myles Garrett
one
is
of
one
the
of the
top
best in the
3
game.
defensive rushers this year.
He definitely held his own and made this look good. I did want to say, you said Mahomes didn't light anything up today, but I disagree. I believe he's going to light up an X-ray machine a little later.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but let's talk about the passing, because I don't know, it was obvious to me, but I don't know if it was obvious to you. They were using the poor Browns as a testing ground. Mahomes, okay, I haven't looked this up, so if I'm wrong, let me know in chat or in the comments how dumb I am. But I'm pretty sure that Mahomes threw double or maybe triple the amount of long passes that he's done in any game this season so far.
Maybe more than that.
He gave the shots at
Yeah.
the long ball a bunch. they didn't work out. There was a long ball to Kelsey early on. Didn't work out. There was a long bomb. But
To Watson.
it looked like they were
Hopkins.
testing it, something that he hasn't done in a long time.
Well, he did it last week a little bit too. That's where I was saying I was excited to see it last week. I think we saw it even more this week because they were up by 3 scores. And he was like, well, I might as well get some of these reps in, right? Which, like, yes, I love to see it. Even though they didn't work out, we do need to figure out and connect with those. But I love that he's taking those chances. And I love that we're pushing it down the field. And there was a couple that were really close. Like that Hopkins one, like that was just really good defending where they popped it out right at the right moment. But it was
He still almost
a catch.
came up with
Yes,
it.
he
We challenged that, which was a little silly, because it was definitely out. You know, I was like, well,
We watched that replay.
we
several
could
times.
possibly get this if the refs are a little bit silly today. You never know with the refs, but most likely that was not a catch. But that he was targeted 6 times, and he came down with 5 of them. So that was his only target that he didn't come down with. Like
Which was good
Hopkins
to
was
see.
looking good.
Yeah, because last week I think he had a few drops that we were kind of like, whoa, what's going
Yeah.
on? Like Hopkins is supposed to catch literally every ball, and he had a couple drops. But I think seeing him come down with some of these balls and seeing Mahomes throw some of these balls in, like it was the Mahomes of the past almost a lot of times where he was turned sideways, throwing it across the
Yep.
field, falling back and throwing it 20 yards down the field, right?
Yep.
And I'd say 50% of those were moneymakers, right? Yeah, some of them didn't work out, but I
Yep.
was so
Worthy,
excited to see it.
definitely looking up, but definitely still has a lot to learn. With there's some of those balls. If it hits your hands, bro, if it hits your hands and there's no defender around you, you have to catch that. Period. There is no if, ands, or buts. If it hits both hands, like if it's not you're reaching out with one hand, like we understand if you can't get that, like, but. If it hits both of your hands, you have to catch that. I don't care if you're, like maybe he's done a good job of not getting injured. Maybe a lot of his drops are keeping himself safe from injury. So I don't know, maybe, but either way, you've got to catch those.
My big thing I noticed about Worthy today was he had a lot of plays where he was just like shoestring tackle. And if he had gotten away from that tackle, he had all day to run. And he saw it too. You saw him after a lot of those
did,
plays.
yeah.
He's slamming the field. And I think as time goes on, his vision will get just a little bit better and he'll be able to make those plays. So I'm really, really excited about Worthy's progress,
Same.
especially over the last 4 to 6 weeks, and going forward, what he's going to learn. And I think Hopkins has been a huge factor in that. Honestly, he's
Listen,
looking tough
Worthy caught a ball
on the sideline.
Multiple
Lines.
balls. He's done it the past 2 weeks
and
too.
stayed in bounds. And he's run along the sideline, but he hasn't caught one on the sideline.
No, I caught one
with
on the
his feet in
sideline
bounds.
last week.
I
I
don't
made
believe
a
it.
note of it.
I think he did catch one on the
Yeah.
sideline last week.
Yep.
Wow.
But he
He's-
had that one catch where, like, he had to stop on the sideline, wait for the ball, and then kind of as he's falling, and in his every game before this, he already would have had a toe out just so that he could keep his balance. It's almost like he's mostly concerned about yards after catch, and now he's starting to realize, hey, if I'm close, I got to make that catch first,
Yeah.
and then if I make that catch, I can try and make something of it. But
But yeah, I agree.
Super
that
impressed.
He did get some shoestring tackles that he did notice where, he should have broken that. But I think he is definitely pulling in some good passes. I like the way that we're utilizing him. He's like a supercharged Hardman, right?
Yeah.
With like the end arounds and the deep ball and the slot. And I think that we're utilizing his speed in a way that's not just outrun somebody and hope that we can get you the ball. And I'm really excited about that. I think his future I think if we get Rice back and we have Rice, Hopkins, and Worthy, I mean,
If Worthy learns how to how to beat coverage running routes. Like, this is what a lot of people don't understand. Speed is only part of it.
Sure.
Running routes is one of the biggest things. Like, it's what made Kelsey was never, ever, 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 ever in the history of his career fast. Right. Ever. He actually looked kind of funny, like a big yeti running down the field, even when he was like young. He never looked
Jason
cool.
Kelsey talk about how he can beat him in like a short distance run.
Yeah. Okay,
He's
so
got like big ass.
Yeah, super powerful legs, great push off.
but the whole point is, if you run routes well, you beat corners.
Yeah.
And
Corners
find the
can
gaps.
keep up with you speed for speed because they will account for your speed and give you a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah.
But if you run routes that trick people, then you're open. Like, that's what Edelman made a career out of. He was never a super speedy white guy.
But
He
if
just
you can run routes and you're speedy.
And you're willing to take a hit.
Yes. I mean, Worthy has a chance to be amazing. Hollywood Brown doesn't have as much speed as him. He'll probably be the second fastest wideout we have when he comes back. But Hollywood Brown can beat coverage. And so and Mahomes is used to throwing to people that are open. And so that's why it's been such a weird transition for him with Hopkins, because he's like, oh, well, okay, I guess you do catch it, and I don't throw an interception. Okay.
Or you'll battle it and they won't pick it off
Yep.
from you, Hopkins. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, he'll go into defensive mode if he needs to and make sure that they don't get that ball. But I'm excited about Worthy. I'm excited about Hollywood Brown. I wonder how much impact Hopkins has had on Worthy. He's been there.
Worthy
I feel
is
like all of his progress has been since Hopkins has been here. And I mean, who knows what goes on behind the scenes, but I can't imagine for a second that Worthy is not just like that annoying little puppy dog that won't stay away. Like, tell me how you do this. How do you do that?
He's literally said
And he
that
should.
in interviews. He's like,
That's
I
amazing.
try not to be too annoying to him because I'm
it's
kind of just
DeAndre
on his
Hopkins. How do you
ass
not?
every time we get done with anything, and I'm like, hey, what'd you think of this? Or, hey, could I do this better? And he's very patient with me. It's what he says.
I bet he looks like he's a patient man.
Oh,
he does.
Doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopkins just, oh, man. Hopkins.
I know. Every time I see him,
Dude,
I'm
Hopkins,
so
I
impressed.
just want to be like, dude, you're the consummate professional, man.
know.
And he
Kinda
doesn't
reminds me
gloat,
of-
and he
Yep.
doesn't. Oh, he's so great.
I
He's
love
so
it.
What
great.
reminds me of is Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like a very solid guy, a very humble guy, catches the ball.
Not the
like,
fastest, but
yeah,
but always the most
but
reliable.
always the guy you're gonna go to.
Yep.
And a
Yep.
good
And just
mentor.
always
Yep.
there, ready to block, too. Like,
and Hall of Fame caliber.
Fitzgerald was very much like that, too. He would always block for others. And, it is very cool. But we have to give some props. So, Jaden Hicks had his second interception of the season, rookie Jaden Hicks, who we've been talking about since preseason and been real excited for. And, yeah, he's coming up. Cook got one.
In the end zone.
Bolton stole one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He straight up took that catch.
Bolton straight up took it. We thought it was a fumble just because.
Yeah, it looked.
Yeah, he just took it. He just took it from him, and
It was
then
right at the start of the second half, which is like we have been starting second halves really slow, right? And that happening was just huge.
It was huge, but we still struggled for most of the third quarter.
But not after that play. After Bolton's pick, we did go down and score a TD with Worthy.
Yep. And so McDuffie got his first career pick. I couldn't believe this was a stat. I didn't believe he didn't. I thought that he just hadn't had a pick this season. But no, it was his first pick
2.5 years
ever.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Almost 3 full seasons, yeah. That's insane.
And you know what's great to hear him talk about it too? He's like, he's humble as well, and he's saying, well, yeah, of course I want it, but I'm not constantly thinking
Yeah.
about it, right? He's like, I as long as we're getting picks, I'm not as concerned if they're me. But did you guys hear how he got that pick?
No.
He said he was running down. He goes, and I just happened to look up at the Jumbotron and noticed that he was pulling back for like a long pass, and he was like, "Oh, all right," and he turned around, and that's when he got
It absolutely looked like he turned around at the last possible second when I watched it, almost like he knew it was coming.
did.
So that makes perfect sense, actually. But he was draped. Dude had his face mask like this, and he's pulling his head back, and he still had the presence of mind to
Stayed
hold
in
that ball.
bounds.
Oh, that was an amazing interception. He earned every bit of that.
Jumbotron is a cheat. Do you know who used the Jumbotron and talks about it a lot now whenever he does interviews?
Lamar Jackson? Michael Vick?
Nope. Think running back.
Sean McCoy.
Barry Sanders.
Nope. They didn't. They didn't even have. They didn't even have flip phones when Barry Sanders played.
They had Jumbotrons.
Yeah, but you could barely
Aren't we
see
talking
that
about
shit.
the Jumbotron, though?
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, but think the Jumbotrons of the past weren't HD. They were just the same as we watched, and you could barely see football at that time. Like, that's why we never complained about
Then
the
I
refs.
have no idea.
All
Who
right.
you got?
LaDainian Tomlinson talked about this in so many different interviews. He would use, I don't know if it was because the old San Diego Stadium specifically had a Jumbotron, I think, at each end, but he could watch himself on the screen, and he could tell if someone was behind him. He was one of the best high steppers you've
Yes, he
ever
was.
seen. And he said his visor would shield the light enough for him to look up at the Jumbotron, be like, all right, he's almost here. High step. And then he would get away. And it was just he kept it secret for years.
Yeah,
And he-
don't give away the tricks.
he only let it go like
After he
towards,
retired.
well, towards the end of his career. Like I don't think he had actually retired the first time he talked about it, but
I feel like he
Yeah.
can't be the only one that's done that, though.
oh, I'm sure not.
He's the one
But
that talks about it.
yeah.
but he's the one that talked about it, and a running back would be able to use that so well. Anybody who's running towards the end zone with no one in front of you and not wanting to look behind you, you look up at the Jumbotron and you could just see who's behind you.
Dude, you know what? I wonder who the first team to put their Jumbotron on a delay is going to be. Not tell
Well,
anybody.
you would
You can't
only
put it on
put
a
it.
delay.
You would only
Yeah.
put it on a delay
Yeah.
when it's the enemy team going.
Yeah, that's you can't do that,
I know
man.
you
People are
can't.
gonna complain. Yeah, like
be
this,
so funny.
in this day and age, they can't get it like real time.
Somebody
when
have
we
to
all
prove
know
it,
they
though.
can.
Somebody will have to prove it.
Well, the
Well-
thing is like McDuffie showed it's beneficial on defense, and LT showed it's beneficial on offense. So it's not really like everybody has an equal opportunity to utilize the Jumbotron.
Look, you've got to look away from the play to look at the Jumbotron.
Right.
So if you have it in you to look at the Jumbotron and then use that to turn around and actually make a play, good on you. I mean, that's just another tool in these guys' arsenals. So why not use it? Yeah, why take that away from them?
All right, so the last thing I just wanted to say, like, good job, guys, is Leo Chanel, Roland Wallace, and Minihue number 90.
Yeah, he
All forced fumbles. 2 of them were recovered. One by P-Ryan and one by Tranquil. Good job, guys. Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, I just want to see more of this kind of defense going forward against playoff caliber teams.
Yeah. Well,
That's
we
the
just-
problem, is we have not been able to do that at all.
Well, I think a Minihue coming back is just, you've seen the line. It's gotten better every week. A Minihue is a monster, and as long as he's the same player after this injury, I think we have a lot to look forward to.
Well, you say we're getting better, but we're getting worse against the run. It seems like every week is just a little bit worse. Now, if the
That's
trade-off,
the trade-off.
if
you
the
get
trade-off is
for-
turnovers, cool, let's go. I'm all
yeah,
in.
that's the trade-off you get for pass.
But I
rushers.
want to see that consistently for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Like I would guess that if you looked at the number one sack teams, they give up a lot of rushing yards. And if you look at the number one rushing D teams, they don't get a lot of sacks.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And like that's just kind of the trade-off. You put a Minihue in, he's a pass rusher. Jones is like both, right? But a Minihue's a pass rusher. Karlaftis is both, but he's just not as good as Jones. He might be someday, but he's just not right now.
He got
right?
2 sacks this game.
He did, but most of the time his sacks are coverage sacks, where a Minihue's sacks are the ones that look like picture perfect. He comes around the edge, slaps that ball, and he looks like an edge rusher. Karlaftis sacks never look like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had 5 sacks this game, and we have not seen that type of pressure on a quarterback in a long time.
Oh, no.
From our defense.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about pressures. Like, yeah.
We had 11 quarterback hits.
Yeah, we pressured
A
big
lot.
time.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so what did we have total? So we had 8 tackles for a loss, 11 quarterback pressures. I mean, this was a defensive game. Unbelievable.
11 quarterback hits. That doesn't
defensive
count
game.
pressures.
Yes.
We don't have stats for pressures, but quarterback hits and then 4 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. I mean, our defense was on fire today.
Sadly, they had 5 sacks and 12 quarterback hits too.
No, they didn't have any. They didn't have any sacks.
Wait. Oh, sorry. 5 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
They didn't have any sacks. What? Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we need to praise Tooney in the offensive line, but
And Caliendo.
I also think we need to praise the offensive scheme here, because there were a lot of plays where they had extra tight end help on the left. They had running back help on the left. Like, we were prepared for.
Whoa. You said praise the offensive scheme?
The offensive line scheme? Yeah.
Oh, the offensive line scheme. Okay, I'll give you that. The offensive scheme as a whole, this was the downside of this game. Complete downside.
I meant the scheme for the
We
line.
punted 9 times, and the only thing I brought up earlier, the only thing that makes me feel okay about this is I feel the offense was, hey, let's test stuff out.
Yes.
Let's throw long bombs. Let's use them as our...
We have a comfortable lead.
We're about to play 2 good teams. Let's use them as a testing ground to see what we can pull off and what we can actually do. But as far as the offense was doo-doo today.
Correct. But the offensive line held up better than
yes,
held up
definitely.
in any game in the past, I don't know,
Definitely.
recent memory.
I will give you I will give you that.
But
I will give you
don't
that.
think that was all Tooney, is what I'm saying. There was they had extra tight ends. They had extra help on the left side.
They did. They were using double tight ends for coverage. They
and
were
So I think that them doing that allowed us to
try out
practice
those long
passes. I mean,
that's a good
Mahomes
call.
couldn't do long passes before because he
didn't have time.
was getting hit in 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Wanye Morris was like, "Hey, I'll give you a tip as you go by."
Yeah, no, he didn't even get a chance to talk to them. They were by him so fast. Like, So I think that's what I'm saying, is that the offensive line scheme was I was much more confident in it today, which was exciting because I was very worried with Humphreys being out, how that was if we were just gonna go right back to how it was.
And it was their first game with this new setup, and they definitely struggled at times.
Sure.
But it's only going to get better. It was Tooney's first game at left tackle. We all know he's an all-world. Well, maybe not an all-world, but I mean he's an all-pro caliber offensive lineman. So he's going to learn that position. He already looked better than Wanye and Kingsley put together today.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
And you
But
have
I
to
don't
remember,
want him to have to keep doing that. I hope to God
DJ,
we hope Humphreys comes
TJ
back,
Humphreys
too.
could come back.
Just
Yeah.
knowing that
We have
don't
that.
have to rely on Humphreys, right?
It also will make other teams preparing for us not.
harder, yeah.
Yeah, because teams have been basically scheming on our two tackles. Like their defensive plan is to scheme against them, and they know every weakness Wanye has. They know every weakness that Suamataia had. It only took them 2 games to figure that out. But yeah, that's so.
I mean, we saw
it's definitely
Garrett
cool.
even move to the right side to rush a few times, trying to get away from Tooney, I think, because he wasn't having much success over there. Which, that's just. I mean, I'm excited about that.
And Miles Garrett is amazing. So
yeah,
Yes,
and that's
he is.
like the fact that Tooney could hold up with Miles Garrett on that side is huge.
hell yeah.
Because we haven't had a ton of Miles Garrett's on that side, and they're still getting through.
Well, we've had
we have
some
had
really
some
good.
ones.
but we have
Yeah.
had some
We've
nobodies
had-
that had career
Yeah.
games over there too.
True, but we have had a lot of people
So
need to
basically
understand.
anybody
We've
that
had
wants
a
a
lot
sack.
of top 10 outside, rushers
saying it
going
didn't
against
matter
us throughout this
whether
year.
they were top 10 or not before they were getting
Yep.
through.
Yeah, so and then so that's really all I've got for the whole recap. Like, let's just hit our notes. Is there anybody like wants to jump in for any of their notes?
Just a shout out to Chanel. They showed him. He had a forced fumble, and it was just a great punch out
Yeah.
fumble, really in there.
And they had a beautiful camera angle on that too.
Oh,
It
they
was
did.
so
Mhm.
nice
It
to
was
see.
beautiful.
It was, and I didn't even think it was really a fumble with the live action. I thought it was one of those. Oh man, maybe his knee was down. But when they showed that replay, he wasn't even going down yet. Yeah, that was a beautiful swing.
And you think about the start of the game. We talk about momentum. We went 3 and out to open the game up, and then we punted it, and we forced fumbled and fumble recovered. That was huge. Who got that first fumble recovery?
That was the one I think P-Run got it.
Yeah. So that was huge to just set a precedent for the game. They thought, oh, we stopped them 3 and out, But boom, we just come back. We score off of that. We did suck.
Yeah.
There and out, just punt. We had 3 punts in the first quarter.
Cook had the big pick. and
We
then
sucked
we went-
offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, we were awesome.
Domination.
Yeah.
Cook had that big pick in the end zone, and then we went 3 and out.
Yep.
Right. But our defense kept the momentum going. Every time the offense sputtered, they were like, try again. Here you go.
Yep. Nazi Johnson back definitely was good. Saw him getting a lot of work in the second quarter.
I will say there were not as many completely wide open receivers downfield as there had been recently.
That might just be an indication of the Browns just having a lot of
Yeah, I know.
lot of injuries though. And
But-
there was a ton of injuries today too.
Yeah, but I do think whether or not it was against the Browns or a really good team, I don't think it matters because I think the momentum that the Chiefs are going to get from this performance, specifically the defense, I think is huge, right? It doesn't matter that it was a gimme game or that they felt like Winston throws a lot of picks. That's fine. But if we had gone in there and not gotten very many picks, maybe gotten 1 and nothing else, I think we'd be very worried.
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm not worried at all now. I really think with the amount we were just beating their butt on D, I think they were just like, okay, this is our chance to try stuff out. But I do want to bring up the challenges. Okay, we did a dumb challenge on the Hopkins pass later on in the game.
But it didn't matter because
at the
need the timeouts.
at the end of the first half, second quarter, there's 35 seconds left or something like that, right? I'm pretty sure Hunt gets the first down, but he gets stopped short according to the refs, and it's 3rd and 1. We had 3 timeouts. There's 30-some seconds left on the clock. That's when you use your challenge. That's a challengeable thing, and the ball, it probably would have been turned over.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that it probably would have been turned over. Was it a first down? I'm 95% sure it was a first down, but the refs are not going to overturn almost any play unless it's blatantly obvious. I'm not going to say they wouldn't have because it was, it seemed like it.
Okay.
But
I'll give you that, but then why challenge the freaking catch from Hopkins later?
It didn't matter at that point. We had 3 timeouts. We didn't need them. It was late in the game. Like we weren't going to need 3 challenges.
We had 30 some seconds left.
That was in the first half.
Yes.
If you lose the challenge, then you only get 1 more challenge in the game. If you don't,
see that, I guess
you want to save those just in case you need them.
I still think it was dumb. I think that should have been
No, it's for
challenged.
the game. Yeah, you get 2 challenges, and if you win both, you get a 3rd one.
Yeah.
I
think that was dumb that they didn't challenge it there. I think that's where you challenge something.
I agree. I mean, that would have been a better challenge than the Hopkins one. I think we all knew the Hopkins one was.
Yeah, and we didn't need any of those timeouts. Yeah. We were literally on the goal line, and then we get stopped 4th. We come out, try to make them jump off sides. They call a timeout. Then Harrison Butker misses the kick.
Yeah. I will say, I think, Bobby has spent a decent amount of time on these shows.
My name is Bob.
Blazing
complaining
Bob.
about the refs. I think that the refs in this game, do I think that there was missed calls? Yes. But do I think that they were evenly calling the same types of penalties on both teams? Yes. Right? Like they were not calling pass interference, but they weren't calling it on us and they weren't calling it on them either. And I think that for me feels good. If you're going to let them play the game, let them both play the game,
Yahtzee. Okay. So there was definite. Okay. So I was watching it all through the game. The Browns were getting to our wideouts just a little early, and they were touching them before the ball got there. But then it happened to us later on in the game, and they let that go too. Mm-hmm. That's the type that this game probably had the best consistency of what you call and what you don't call, and that's what we need from officiating teams. We need, it's okay if you call games different, but we need to know what you call and what you don't call. Mm-hmm. That is the whole key. We can't have you calling it on one team and not the other. And they did have consistency here, which was great.
Or not calling it in the beginning and then calling it in the end, right? I think that's the difference, is that they learned what they could do. And they did it. And that's fine. Let the guys play.
And they got to play. Yeah. And it was a fun game to watch.
As long as, there was not how many penalties were there? I feel like there wasn't a ton of penalties.
No, I think there was maybe 6, 7 total.
I'm looking here. Penalties. 4 on us, 6 on... Wait. 4 on us, 6 on them.
Wow.
That's
4 on us for 36 on them for 45. That's way less than what we normally cover. We normally cover 11 and 9.
For sure. But I enjoyed it. It kept the game going. It was fun. There wasn't any egregious, but there was some against Kansas City that even the McDuffie pick in the end zone, blatant face mask.
Oh yeah.
On that
one.
Well, right?
Yeah.
And
well, and King Jamie the Mad, who comes and hangs out with us live. We love you, bro. He says in chat, feeling out the refs is part of a good scheme too. Gotta beat the refs and the opponents, and that's a key thing. And what you pointed out and what King Jamie pointed out, if if it's the same, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Like if
Just
you're
be fair.
Yeah, if the calls are okay, yeah, I'm not articulating myself well right now because I'm so excited that you brought this up because it's consistency, and we should look up who this officiating crew is because
top.
they did a good job of just being straight across. We're calling the same things, and we're not calling. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Trey Blake was the head ref today.
Yep.
Great job, refs.
Yeah, definitely cool, and I love that you brought that up. And yeah, it's a definite thing. And as long as they're keeping with what they normally do, then teams can play to accordance, and strategy matters at that point.
Sure.
You're like, hey, these refs don't call as much, passing interference down the field. We can get away with a little early contact.
What I will say is that I don't think a lot of people will talk about the refs about this game because there was no big impacts from the refs this game, right? However, I do think if this was a closer game and they had been calling the plays the same way they had been calling them, and there was a game-winning play that they didn't call pass interference on because they hadn't been calling it all game, you'd be hearing
Oh yeah, but people are dumb.
Go
Yeah,
nuts.
but people are dumb, and that's just the way
I'm
it
just
is.
saying that's why I want to point it out, though, is that
Yeah.
I think that it's
That was a
important
good point.
for us to see the consistency and know that even when it sucks for your team at the end, that it's still better in the long run for the
game.
game as a
Yeah.
whole. Another thing I wanted to point out, and I know we probably have to wrap up, but another thing I wanted to point out that we didn't realize, I think we realized it, but kind of didn't. I think Bobby knew it better than Buck and I did, but the stoppage of the clock when somebody goes out of bounds, apparently that rule got changed, that it only stops in the last 2 minutes of the first half and the last 5 minutes of the second half. Any other time you go out of bounds, it only maybe briefly stops for the ref to reset the ball, and then it starts again, which is just, I don't know, that's just crazy to me because I've just always thought, and I guess every time I'm looking at the clock, it's in the last few minutes of the game, and
Yeah.
I'm watching it stop and all of that, but
This is a bad job by the NFL by not properly telling everybody. They need to have the announcers really. They do it during preseason. Okay, they
about rule
do
changes?
talk about rule changes during preseason. NFL, nobody watches preseason besides. I mean, before I covered the Chiefs, I would watch the third game. Back when we had 4 of them, I would watch the third game because that was the dress rehearsal. And I would only watch the first half because that's when they would stop the starters. And I, as a normal fan, just didn't care about the backups. That wasn't something that most fans are going to care about, period. It's just not. So explaining the rule changes during preseason sucks. And then
I will
if
say-
anybody watches ESPN, they do explain it, or like NFL Network, they will explain it, but not later on in the year. And the problem is it should be explained through the first 3 games of the year in every game.
I think some announcers do it better than others.
True.
Right? I think some announcers do a really good job of saying, like, and remember, this rule got changed at the, last year to mean this. And some of that, I think, depends on how much else they have to talk about. It's
Yes.
probably like
How exciting
on
the game
their-
is.
It's like on their tablet of like downtime, talk about these things,
Yeah.
right? But some of it, I think people just need to get better about. It's like when you're immersed in something so much and you know it so well, you don't think to say it again and again and again. And it also sounds redundant to them because they're casting every single game. So I think it's just better if I don't know. It's just I do think some casters do a really good job of it. Is basically what I wanted to say there.
Yeah, Tony Romo.
Yep, Tony Romo. I didn't want to say names, but you did.
We are not worthy, Tony.
Dude.
Oh,
He's-
and Tom's
it's not
getting
even
better,
close.
but Tony
He's
is
the best in the game.
Tony, you're the best that ever was in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I love you. I'm just sending my heart to
He
you.
is.
I love you.
Oh man, he's such a good game caller, and oh man,
Ugh.
his knowledge of the game, it just blows my mind that he couldn't win a Super Bowl.
Dude, he couldn't win a playoff game.
Yeah.
This poor guy had to be the starting quarterback and the holder for the field goal kicks. This poor guy. I mean, dude,
Maybe
Romo.
that's why he has such
Romo
Salute.
is. Yeah, I absolutely
Salute
love
to
Tony
you.
Romo.
I love you. You're the best ever. Oh,
player of the game. You weren't even there.
Don't even play anymore.
but yeah. So, my notes here. We gotta go through it. We got about
4 minutes.
8 minutes left. No, we started. Yeah, we got about 8. As far as an hour goes, but Worthy's using his speed to his advantage now and not trying to do too much. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I think that's a good thing. Just
I
try.
think that's a real simple, like, just overview of what's happening, but I think there's a lot more good to say about
Oh
Worthy.
God, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, that's a nice
Which
little
we did.
synopsis.
We talked about him.
Yeah.
Charles Minihue looking great. Getting pressure, helping the other. Like we're getting all these sacks now. I don't know what happened, but since we've been getting them sacks, Minihue's been back. So
He had a good game. And I think last game was his first game back, and we saw some, bright spots. And I think this game we saw him really start to come together.
Yep. I mean, we did have a lot of 3 and outs this game. I think 4 3 and outs throughout the game. That
I feel
was
like we had more than that.
It was 3 in the fourth quarter. I didn't check it after that, but I don't know how to check it real quick. Tooney looking like an actual legit left tackle. Like this sucks because he's gonna want left tackle money at this point. Like if I could go over and play the premier line spot, why am I getting guard money? Crap, we're screwed there. Okay, so, but yeah,
What
we
I think
talked
tells
about
the
it
story
earlier.
about how many 3 and outs we had is that our possession time was only 2 minutes more, 3 minutes more than the Browns, and we had 4 turnovers.
Jesus.
Right? So that kind of says it all, but
Yeah, and then the last thing that I have. Okay, do you guys have any other notes before we hit this like end of the stream?
that was all mine.
Oh, dude, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3 and outs.
When was the?
Number of plays. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter.
Oh yeah. So, hold on. We had.
We had 3 in the
There's
third
our
quarter with
6.
0 yards gained.
Yeah, there's our 6.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 in the first quarter.
Wait, what is this though?
That's the end of the
not
game.
Yeah, that's not
2 plays.
Yeah, that's not a 3 and out. So we
No,
had-
that's not 3 and out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, so I wrote that down early in the third quarter. Jeez. Yeah, so
No, not 1, 2, 3. 2 was the touchdown.
Oh yeah, the second one it was 3 plays, but it was a touchdown. You're right. It wasn't 3 and out.
and then
So only 6 of them were 3 and outs.
6.
okay. So that's not great, but I bring it back to what we talked about at the start of the episode. I think they were testing stuff out and just letting them, see what they could do against a struggling Browns team. And yeah,
Dude,
shout out to Jarius Judy. I mean, shouldn't have dropped him in fantasy, should we have? I think Mel and I both had him at one point in fantasy. We dropped him, but
Listen,
would
the
have helped
Browns-
me out today.
yeah, but the Browns, you just can't trust a receiver on the Browns, let's be honest. But The Browns
For the last
actually-
4 weeks, you could trust him.
You look at the Browns start of the second half, 1 play interception, 1 play fumble, 8 plays punt. Like they struggled that like coming back in, but yeah.
Yep. Well, and then my last thought before we do players of the game, because we need to remember to do players of the game. We forget a lot of weeks. But my last thought is, oh, God, I hope Mahomes is okay. He sat out
Yeah, me
the
too.
end of the game. Carson Wentz looked real rusty. It was good that he got some
Well, yeah,
reps.
he hasn't played it forever.
Yeah, it was good that he got some reps because he looked real rusty.
Did you see him when he was calling into the game? He had his baseball hat on, and he was like, "Oh, me? Like
Right now? Are you sure?
for real? All right."
Yeah, well, it's because he's like, well, Mahomes always just
Yeah, and Mahomes is probably looking over at him like,
Mahomes
"Don't even
always
bother.
just says no. Like
Put your helmet down. Put your helmet down.
yeah, it was like I
Don't you
figured
think about it."
I figured I wouldn't even be in unless Mahomes was
On
dead.
on a stretcher. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Buffalo's smoking the Lions. Jamie said,
all right.
"Sweet."
Player of the game?
Okay. Player of the game. I want to, man, it's so hard because the defense did so well and there's so many different guys that did well. I kind of want to just give player of the game to the defense, like just the whole defense in general. But I also want to give special props to Worthy because I think he's getting better. Oh, I think Bob, I might have taken his answer.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Bob.
No,
Who's your
no,
player of the
no,
game?
no. You get done with yours.
No, I mean
No.
Worthy had a great game. I guess that's it. And Joe Tooney. I mean, he stepped in and just played with everything he had, and he did fantastic.
Listen, we need rules to player of the game. I believe that.
Did I just
you
take like
cannot pick
75% of the team?
Every single player that had a good portion of the game
Sorry.
as player of the game.
You
So
get one
Get
person.
one.
Okay, I'll take Joe Tooney then.
Okay. That's a
All
good
right.
pick.
Yeah, no, solid.
All right, and yeah, I'm just gonna echo Buck and say no. I'm giving the player of the game to the defense. Seven turnovers. It was only 6 total because we didn't get the other
That's like
forced
saying I give
fumble.
it to the
But 4
offense.
picks.
Like,
No,
pick someone.
sorry, no, I can't.
See, and I think that's unfair because the offense gets their highlights and their, people
Yeah.
pick them, and the defense is like clumped into one.
Yeah.
No.
Even
Yeah.
in even in fantasy football,
No.
you can
Yeah.
pick any player on the offense, but you get a defense.
Yeah.
No,
Fine.
no. I
Make
mean,
rules,
it's
whatever.
the
I pick-
defense are they were amazing.
As
it
a
was
unit.
crazy
Yes.
as a okay.
Being a player of the game doesn't mean that everybody else didn't.
The
do
Ravens
great.
defense got MVP, won Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
and I think that's bullshit.
Okay, well
Did they
that's
really?
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Actually, if I'm wrong, make sure you leave a comment and tell me, and leave your
MVP
reference.
of the game.
Yeah.
MVP of the game. I think they do that kind of thing with MVP of the game.
MVP,
But now you won't
Super
hear
Bowl MVP
Yeah, but
was
you
the
won't-
Ravens defense.
you won't hear like the MVP of the season going to the
No.
defense.
No.
That's a legit one.
All right,
deal.
fine.
It's
Fine.
quarterback.
All right, Mel, you do yours, and I'll find mine.
All right, my MVP is McDuffie for his first interception of his career, and it was a killer one, and it's a highlight. And he said he's going to find that ball and sleep with it tonight.
I'll
So,
bet. 2 interceptions in the end zone today.
Yeah.
That's
Huge.
insane. All right, Bob.
All right, I'm gonna go with Joshua Williams.
What did Joshua Williams do?
Joshua Williams had 3 tackles, 2 assists, and 5 combined tackles, and 1 pass deflection.
Oh, so he was just everywhere then. Okay.
No, he wasn't everywhere.
I mean, he had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was second in tackles to Bolton, but what he did do is he locked down that side that normally gets picked on. And when we had Nazi Johnson in there for weeks. He failed and failed and failed. He didn't give up anything, and your second corner on the outside is one of your most important players. So I'm giving it to Joshua Williams, because if he didn't do his job, I don't know that the defense has as many stats as it does have.
Fair.
Yep, I'll take it. Good job picking one player, though, man. I'm proud of you. I know that went against what you wanted to do.
I know, but
It took me some convincing too. But
can we end this on a fun note?
no.
No.
So, I would love the Bills to be beat by the Lions, because it would just make it so we could probably sit people on Christmas Day. But the Lions are currently getting their ass whooped by the
they?
Bills,
Yeah.
35-21 in the very end of the third quarter.
That's not
And-
ass whooping. That still is a two-score game.
Yeah, but it's okay. So I had to live my life watching all of the pregame crap today, and I had to hear, God, Rex.
What the Lions are gonna
Rex
do.
Ryan wants me to. He makes me want to just strangle my teddy bear. I mean,
You don't like Rex Ryan?
no, he's
I
an
love Rex
idiot.
Ryan.
Oh, he's the only moron that has picked against the Chiefs in every week for the last 8 weeks.
We need that. We lose when everybody picks
But
the
he's
Chiefs.
a
we lose.
moron. I don't care.
I don't care either. I just want somebody to pick against the Chiefs
All right,
so
well,
we have a chance.
Okay, but
Thanks, Rex.
either way, Rex is a freaking moron. And I've had to hear everybody talk about, I think the Lions are going to really, set the tone and show the Bills what's up. And, people are going to really have to open their eyes that, the Lions are definitely the best team in the NFL. And I'm like, welcome to Josh Allen, bitches. We've been dealing with this for years.
No kidding,
But you have no clue, do you?
Well, they do right now.
Oh, good luck with golf.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I've had to hear the bullshit about the Lions being America's team and all this crap, and I'm like, are you kidding me? We're in the heart of America. We're a city that went downhill but is now coming up. We're not a city that went bankrupt. And dude, the Lions being America's team blows my mind, and it drives me nuts anytime anybody says it anywhere.
How do you really
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, the reason they're saying it's America's team is because they're the big hot team right now.
Yeah,
And
it's
everybody hates
bullshit.
the Chiefs because the Chiefs are the dynasty right now. It's the same thing that happened to the Patriots, same thing that happened to the Cowboys. So America's team is the team that the NFL is building
Well,
to beat the Chiefs.
the
And I think that everybody's
Cowboys-
rooting for that to happen.
The Cowboys, the reason they got America's team is because it was a time when we didn't have the internet. It was basically the team that was on TV at all the times, and the team that was winning constantly. So they stole that. But I really believe the Chiefs are America's team. We're the heart of America here in Kansas City, and yeah, we are America's team. Sorry, Lions. You guys are cute and all, but
Oh my gosh. Okay.
The Detroit Kitties.
We gotta
right.
get out of here.
wait. All right. Thanks, King, Jamie, and Chad. Thanks for everybody who showed up. We're going to get out of here. Follow us at buckandbob.com. That's BUKNBOB.com. You can find all of our links there. You can find us on Facebook. Everything is Buck and Bob, BUKNBOB, sometimes spaces between Buck and Bob. Buck, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me as always on Facebook. We're together. And then on Twix, it's at Buck_tastic. That's BUK_TASTIK.
And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me here after every game.
And you can find me on Twix. That's Twitter and X combined. We really love that name. Twix. Let's make it happen, guys. You can find me on Twix at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. All right, guys. How about those Chiefs?